participate, but then also in just in a lot of things. Just hearing firsthand someone so close to the highest leadership within the country.
Yeah, his dad.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
It
was great. We had some national folks too there. There
was
a gentleman there from Texas, and the Federation of Turkey Hunters. Basically, I forget their initials, but they go all over the entire United States. So we had representatives, not just from Ohio, but
right. It was all over the country.
National.
So before we get to that at 12:30, Big Ed will have the gun of the week, and it's one. It's one that's been long anticipated. We've talked about it for a while, and but we finally have him here right in the store today. You might be surprised at the price on these. At $199, is it worth it? Or is it something you should pass by?
Are you sure Big Ed is ready for this, Eric?
Well, that's a whole nother discussion, and we'll get to that too.
I know he's on probation. What you said for 5 years?
5 years.
5 years.
5 years probation.
He's using the gun of the week for a cell phone holder.
Sounds like a prison sentence.
It's very similar. Very similar there, Ed. Before that, we're going to get to the news, and unfortunately, the news really is one topic, one story, and it's Virginia. So we're going to get to that, talk about some of the details here shortly, what's going on there. And at some point today, our good friend Kareem's going to call in to talk about CNS engraving and that big announcement that we've been talking about since before Christmas. We're going to announce it.
All right.
All kinds
really?
of things going in today. Oh, I know.
Today? Wow.
We may as well
All right.
cram everything into the hour show. But we'd like to thank our sponsors at this point, too. Rampart Hosting, Toyota West, Jackson Lawn Care and Egress Windows, Trigger Group, Black Wing Shooting Center, River's Edge Cutlery, CNS Engraving, LEPD Training Facility, and, of course, 3i Holsters gives us an enormous support. We always like to thank all those guys. They help the show to make it possible each week.
Absolutely.
Joining me today in the LEPD studios. Now, this studio is right here in the middle of the showroom. So if you're on Bethel Road, if you're in the area, stop by, and you can see this live right now. But joining me today, JC from my sales team is sitting to my right. JC, you're still smiling ear to ear.
It was just unbelievable experience to have the president's son here. I'm telling you, this guy is a normal guy. For those of you out there, and of course, if you're listening here, you're into it. He actually told me he reloads himself for over 100 calibers. He said he loves shooting, loves 1911s, loves shotgun. He's a genuine shooter, not a Biden who has his pump double barrel shotgun that right. So he's a real guy, and it was great. And what a shot! We have his target here.
I know about that is true.
Man,
that
incredible.
is true. Sitting to my left, my father, co-owner Phil. I'm gonna tease something too, Papa. We're gonna talk about something that we didn't expect when he was here this week, and I don't think you expected it either. Some of the time that you personally spent with Eric here. So we'll leave that to after the news in a little bit. But what a neat. I even think you were getting into it.
Yeah, and I got him to. I'll wait, Eric.
All right.
I'll wait.
All right. We also have here the voice you've heard. You've heard it from time to time here on the show. You might have even joined him in some of the charity motorcycle rides. You might have even have talked to him alongside the road, But Big Ed, who's always been a friend of the show and a real good friend of the family. I mean, geez, Ed, we've known you for a long, long time. You're going to be, of course, after the probationary period of 5 years, of course, you're going to be a part of this show going forward.
Yes, sir.
And you really, you bring a lot to it, not only from the law enforcement perspective, but just from, being a firearm enthusiast yourself, and you have your hands, your pulse on a lot of things. So we welcome you. We're excited. We're really excited.
That. Thank you very much for having me.
Really
I'm glad to be part of the show.
Yep. So if you're watching on Facebook, you can see him sitting right there besides JC. If you missed the show, you can always catch the podcast. That's at 610WTVN.com. It's on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Podcast, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we're going to announce another medium that we're going to be on that hopefully will be kind of a neat thing. We sent in 10 shows to them to review, and if all goes well, we'll have another platform as well. So we'll know about that in a couple of weeks. Also, follow us on Instagram. Great place to see used items that come in. Our sales staff here, our marketing team, when they come in the door, we post them out there real quick. So there's always kinds of good deals out there. That's something definitely you want to see. And we're also on Twitter and other social media sites out there. So let's see, JC. News, and well, before we get to that, I want to give a shout out to Glock 44. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. It is the newest Glock. It's in a 22 caliber. It's in the size of a Glock 19, though, which is their
pretty much exactly like a 19.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are going to be here on Tuesday.
All right.
So they're going to be finally be announced or finally be delivered. And if you are looking for one, if you think you want one, give us a call or stop by the store. The number here at the store is 614-999-1009, and we're at 999 Bethel. But give us a call, and we'll get you on the list to have one of these.
It wouldn't surprise me if it would become a gun of the week very quickly.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. So that is something that I wanted to at least say before we get any further. But the news of the day, JC, is Monday. What is coming Monday?
The news is capital VA, Virginia. As those of you who are out there have certainly been following this, I believe it's pretty big news. Virginia has got a all-Democratic House and Senate, and one of the most vehemently anti-gun governors, and their whole focus, and they announced it ahead of time. They pre-filed bills even before they took office officially, and they are out to apparently strip gun rights from everybody. That's what it looks like. So there's been a sponsored day, and it's always been the 20th of January, and it's sponsored by the Virginia Civil Defense League, and they call it their lobby day. And what they've done is they've gone in and respectfully have gone into the chambers and talked to legislators, and they're lobbying against these anti-gun laws. In the past, they've done it all in the past, and today was supposed to be a especially big day because just as of Thursday, as of Thursday, just a couple days ago, Virginia Senate passed 3 major anti-gun bills, along with 8 other ones that they've already been putting into place. And of course, they want this to stop, so they went to lobby. But so many people were supposed to show up, and this is this freedom of going into the State House and presenting your position, lobbying for that. What did they do? Virginia governor is so afraid that he went and had steel posts put around the entire capital of Richmond, Virginia, and fences, during the night, a couple nights, I guess a night or two ago, to prevent anyone. Then he declared an emergency state of a gun ban all around the Capitol. So I don't know if it's just in the building. I don't know the perimeters of it, but it's a big deal. So these people that are going up, they're going up unarmed. They want to go up and lobby inside and talk to folks. But they have made this into such a big deal. It's kind of like they're hiding behind the fences, and they're not even going to let the people speak on the State House steps or go in. So they don't know how many people are coming up. Of course, there's the big thing that made the news. The anti-gun news media is kind of associate this with the neo-Nazis and the skinheads, and they did make an arrest of like 3 people or something that I don't know if they're going to go to the meeting or not, but they're doing that timing right with this meeting. And what I've seen on TV has been like, oh yeah, here comes all these redneck skinhead guys out there, neo-Nazis. So it's going to be it's a big deal. I think a lot of them and a lot of people believe that they hope that violence breaks out so they can say, see, we told you, this is why we have these laws. But if you look at the announcement from the people presenting the lobby, I mean, they say, hey, don't bring your guns, just show up. You can have these badges that say, we don't stop this these anti-gun laws and Second Amendment rights. But the focus is going to be here. Now, good news is there's no rain today. It's cold. I just looked up the weather there. It's supposed to start raining at 4 p.m. The meetings were supposed to be in the official notice. It says, hey, we meet between 7:30 and 8 a.m., form into teams which will go into the building to lobby. Well, guess what? They've been fenced out. And then 11, they're supposed to gather at the Capitol steps and have a rally with many speakers. Well, guess what? Those have been fenced out. So now this is how the new governor, pardon me, I said czar. I guess I was speaking accurately, but not with the right
It says czar right on your paper
right
there,
Yeah,
JC.
so, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so he wants to do everything. And let me I'll cover this briefly because this is important. This is important because Virginia is a standing ground. If these other states go, hey, Virginia can do this, let's take a look at it. On Thursday, one of the 3 bills they passed, Senate Bill, now this is passed by the Senate, not signed by the governor yet, but he has rubber stamped absolutely everything. It would destroy Virginia's firearm presumption laws. So they would allow every village and city and every public area to establish gun-free zones around public buildings, parks, permitted events, like farmers markets, things like that. It would, right now, there's one law, kind of is in Ohio. Well, that would make everyone could make up their own laws. That's on Senate Bill 35.
And how would you, JC? I mean, the problem with that, as a law-abiding gun owner, you go from one suburb to the next, and now you're legal, you're illegal, you're a felon. That's crazy.
Exactly, it is absolutely crazy. Which is why they put the preemption law in to begin with, was to cut down that craziness. Well, guess what? They want it to be crazy. They want it to be a muck. I think Senate Bill 69 that they passed again all on the same day on Thursday. One gun a month, one handgun a month is, they think that's all you should own. So if you're a collector, you find a nice collection of Colts and there are 3 or 4 of them in there, well, guess what? Yeah, you can buy one,
so
one a month.
We talked about that before the show, too. How on earth is that going to impact anything?
It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't. It's just simply, let's take away rights. And then the last one would ban the sales, which is Senate Bill 70, would ban private sales without first paying fees and going in and obtaining a government permit to be able to sell a gun between a friend, neighbor, fellow hunter, anything like that. So if you wanted to sell to a private individual, you have to go get a permit from the government, and then you can do that. So that would have absolutely zero impact on crime, because guess what? Criminals don't follow laws.
Right.
That may be breaking news to some folks, but that's the way it is. So those 3 just passed Thursday from the Senate.
Now, JC, one thing before we go into break. You and I were talking about before, there was talk out there that Virginia had pulled reciprocity for CCW holders. I mistakenly thought I read that.
And
it was an old article.
I just posted it, but it was an article that was actually written in December 22nd of 2015. Now, they have the same Attorney General, and in 2015, he took a look as Attorney General and said, hey, we think that 25 states don't comply with what I think, and he said that we are going to cancel reciprocity, said this in 2015, and it was going to take effect on February 1st, 2016. Well, I've had a lot of people, and myself included, I fell for it. I didn't look at that little tiny date that was up in the corner, and I thought they had already done it. This is from the NRA's Institute of Legislative Action. I just printed this out. This was from on the 14th, and it said, at present, Virginia recognizes right to carry permits issued by all other states. Out-of-state carry permit holders are free to carry in the Commonwealth, provided they obey local laws and carry photo IDs and mind their P's and Q's. So the bill that's been now introduced, which is House Bill 569, would revert to what the same Attorney General wanted to do, which would be to revoke licenses to carry. That hasn't gone anywhere yet, but that's been introduced into the House.
Wow. Well, thanks for keeping us updated. Next week, we'll certainly talk about how this all turned out. When we come back from the break, we're going to get to our good buddy Kareem from CNS Engraving and to Big Ed's Gun of the Week. We're on target, broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the break.
$1,000 in your hand.
Sorry, cut you early there. My bad.
Amazing. Winner after winner.
Yeah, baby. Say it again, Kippy.
Winner.
Sorry about that. I thought you were going to say 610 WTV, and I had already hit you because you said we'd be right back. Kareem is on hold, so he's ready to go as soon as the commercial breaks over.
Awesome.
We'll go into weather. I'll hit blind melon for you, and then talk over that, and I'll bring it, I'll bring it down in time so you don't get kicked off of Facebook.
And Instagram.
Beautiful. Sounds great.
PatScalesRemodeling.com.
Sound the alarms. We've got a jackpot alert. Prepare to take action. The Powerball jackpot is up to $321 million. The next drawing is tonight, so don't wait. Get your Powerball tickets now. And did you know that in the last 6 months, players have won over $1 billion in prizes playing all our games? People are winning in record numbers, and winning is everywhere. Buy your tickets today. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Please play responsibly.
There's a part of our world that we pay little attention to. Here, an ant drags a seed 5 times its own size. A grasshopper devours a fresh leaf. And a bee sips from a drop of dew. And down here, toxic chemicals and carcinogens are leaching into our environment. They come from objects that we look past every day. Littered cigarette butts. Every one is a tiny, toxic waste site. And there are millions of them, right where we live, work, and play. Let's stop the toxic litter. Learn more at rethinkbutts.org. Brought to you by Legacy and Leave No Trace.
Hi, this is Scott Grissett
and Jody Shields
of Columbus Mobility
Hey,
Specialists.
you got the temp?
If you're having trouble climbing the stairs
it's 34.
in your home, consider
Gotcha.
a Shields system from Columbus Mobility.
Our comfortable, quiet systems offer you
Yeah, I'm
the
not
safety
worried about
you
the
need
weather
to avoid
tonight
dangerous
or
falls
today. I'm
and
worried
give
about
you
the
back
weather
your
overnight because I got to be
We
here
are
at 6
currently running
a.m. tomorrow.
special,
It's supposed to
just
be nasty.
Ooh, that's
installed
bad.
for straight rail
Yeah, it
stairway.
means I got to get
Call
up
us for a
earlier.
free estimate.
I
That's
was going to be up a
Columbus
little bit
Mobility
later because
Specialists.
my dad said.
614-5. Or
That's
on
awesome.
the web at
I think so.
ColumbusMobility.com.
How do people story behind the Panama Canal? How does dyslexia actually work?
Since 2008, me, Chuck Bryant, and you, Josh Clark, have explored the answers to these questions and more in one of the world's most popular podcasts, Stuff You Should Know.
Whether you're brand new to podcasts or coming back to reunite with us, or just digging deep to learn more about everything from sign language to emu wars, us, Josh and Chuck, have you covered.
You can find Stuff You Should Know on the iHeartRadio app or wherever
Okay, here
you
comes your
find
weather in
favorite
5
podcast.
seconds.
Have questions about your retirement? Connect to Ohio's retirement coach at LegacyRetirementGroup.com.
Here, ABC6, first warning weather for today, a mid-wintry mix. Holy mackerel, it was kind of bad coming in today. Changing to rain later on, wet and windy this afternoon, high of 45. For tonight, a few flurries are possible, breezy and cold, low of 19. Haven't been that cold for a bit. Sunday, much colder, still breezy with a single-digit wind chills, likely high of 24. It is currently 34 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
Central Ohio's news, traffic, and weather station. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Welcome back to OnTarget. You guys hearing anything?
I heard a lot of dead air.
Yeah.
Just the voices in your head?
Just the voices in our head, yes.
Welcome back to OnTarget. I'm your host, Eric, joined today.
We're dead.
Yeah.
Oh,
Over there?
I can hear.
Are we talking to ourselves?
Huh? Well, that's usually how it goes here.
Yeah.
You guys are all right.
So,
okay, all right. Says we're on there. We're just not coming through our own radio
Okay,
system.
yeah, but couldn't hear any music there. But welcome back. We are broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms Range and Training Facility that's located right here in the showroom of 999 Bethel Road. Before we go any further today, I think we have our good friend from CNS Engraving on the line. You there, Cream?
Yes, I am. How you guys doing today?
Great. Now I'm going to have to preface this because you and I didn't prep for this at all, but I'm hearing this from the first time from you. I am so excited to hear how your last week went.
We are excited. We just got back from San Antonio, Texas, and where we just picked up a new piece of equipment that we'll be able to start offering the grip stippling, laser grip stippling. So we're pretty excited.
What that is, if you've ever gone out there, and we're going to start putting some pictures out there on our page.
We need to do that because that's much more beautiful than you can imagine.
It is absolutely incredible, the level of detail on this.
It really is.
Yeah, and we don't want to take away from the guys that do the hand grip stippling, because that is a great service. What changes, what's different from us to them is we can actually put physical patterns on your grips, and more higher details, and we can put logos in the middle of your grip, whatever you want. So it's a pretty cool service we're going to add.
Wow. And so when do you think, we talked about that, you can do right here in our show lobby, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we'll have the equipment here tomorrow. We're going to start getting everything assembled, get it all set up and everything. So we're aiming for February 1st to start taking orders. We've already got a ton of people already calling in and emailing it. They want to get their their Glocks or whatever done. So February 1st, and we're going to do a 20% off for anyone booking the first week of February. So.
Wow. Well, we've seen your work, and a lot of people don't know you can actually do designs right over the slide and into the grip, and you've been able to do that already. But the detail on this new process that you're using it's incredible. It really is.
Yeah, it is.
So the Go ahead, Eric.
So what? I mean, did it meet your expectations? Exceed your expectations? What were your thoughts when you were down there?
It was outstanding. I mean, the training we got just took us to the next level. So, I mean, the customization we'll be able to do now on the firearms is going to be just hands down. I mean, the deep engraving of the slides with the filigree patterns and all that stuff, we learned all that, and that's something we'll be able to offer now, and it's just going to be fantastic.
So I'm just going to throw something out there. I don't want to put you on the spot, Cream. We've known each other for a while, and I wouldn't want to do that. But if this thing goes well, man, I got a spot right out here in front of our building. You know, we own the building, and we have a spot out there. I'm telling you, I can change the shine.
Yeah, we definitely talked about that, and I can see that very, in the near future, us moving this whole operation for the gun stippling and the custom firearm customization to Bethel Road soon.
Awesome. Nice. Awesome. Well, welcome back. Can't wait till you come into the store. And Big Ed right here on set. I mean, since you've left, Kareem, he's a part of the fixture now, so we can no longer talk behind his back. But he said he would love to have his off-duty gun something done to it.
I was telling Eric earlier, I saw some of the pictures of what you can do, man. I'm excited about that, and I'm going to, being my birthday's in February, I'm going to come out there and have you do it.
Maybe a Glock or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
We can get a Glock or something and do a display you guys can have there on the counter so people can actually see see it and feel it and touch it.
Well, if you do mine, Kashmir, I'll put mine up here every Saturday so they can all see it.
There you go.
Perfect. That sounds good. That's great advertising.
Our good friend Cash back from San Antonio. We're going to post some pictures on our Facebook and out there to see. But, hey, thanks so much for calling in, and certainly more to come in that regards. Yeah. Our good friends from...
Absolutely. You guys have a great day.
You too.
Take care, Cashman.
Good friends from CNS Engraving. Okay, Ed, the way this usually works here, we get crammed up on time. You got about 45 seconds for the gun of the week, but you know what?
I'm going to give you... break me in the right way,
I'm going to give you about a minute, and then we might have to bleed over to after that. But... Gun of the week you have here in your hand is kind of neat. And it was announced a while ago. We just started to get them in. What do you have?
What do we have, 3 or 4 of them in stock?
I think we do.
This is probably going to be a pretty hot seller for those folks that like shooting 22s. This gun is made out of aluminum.
And what is the gun?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. It's the Ruger Wrangler.
The Ruger Wrangler.
22 caliber revolver, and it's made out of...
Well, it's made out of several things. The barrel obviously is steel, and so is the cylinder.
And the aluminum frame.
It has a cast aluminum frame that's machined, and it has a zinc alloy grip frame.
Yes, it does. But it's well-balanced gun, and it feels pretty good in my hand. I'm not a big 22 fan, but I think for those 22 fans that are out there, I think that'd be a great addition to their collection.
Okay, Ed, this is when you start passing it around.
Well, yeah, I was just getting ready to
say. To let people know what some of the differences are, it has a freewheeling cylinder, so it spins either way. Someone said, oh, that's a cheapness thing. No, you can do that through your own guns right now for a $55 part and have Ruger do it, but they give it to you for free. If you miss a cylinder, you can go back and forth. It's got the same hammer and the same trigger as their $630 single six. It's got some nice plastic grips. The weight is it feels so great, and it's the same size as the single six. So if you have all your other holsters, anything that you have accessory-wise, that will match it.
Perfect. Ed, good gun of the week. Welcome to the family.
Appreciate the help on that.
Don't expect John to bail you out again like that.
We do every week.
That's right.
When we come back from the news, we're going to talk about our visitor this week to LEPD Farms and Range. It was a Mr. Eric Trump.
Who was it?
Mr. Trump.
Right.
We'll be back right after the news.
Hey, Greg, I'm so sorry to hear about your brother's
I'm not sure why you couldn't hear the tune. That YouTube sometimes. I don't know. I mean, I played over your voice and everything.
Really? We didn't hear it all through our ears.
If I had a heart problem,
that's weird.
Or could my kids still go to
I just double-checked the settings.
Really scary. Yeah, you should call my life insurance agent at Health IQ.
If you hear it might have been just really soft because the timing of it when you guys came on was perfect. If you just kept talking, you wouldn't even.
Well, I didn't. Yeah, I don't know why it didn't.
Health IQ starts by shopping everyone with the top 30 life insurance carriers to make sure they can get the lowest retail rate. Then they apply their exclusive healthy lifestyle savings, which can save you up to 41%. I literally got $1 million in coverage for my family for just $36
we're here. We're just messing with Mike just a little bit.
Quit messing with mics.
Yep. You should check it
You
out.
guys went out during the interview, and I was scared there for a second.
Does everything sound all right now?
I'm going to call them
Yeah.
right now.
I heard a
What's that
little
link
crackling.
again?
And I,
There's no crackling on the air, though.
healthiq.com.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, there was a point where you guys went silent for just a second, but it didn't screw with anything. You guys are like my dad. If something happens weird, you're like, well, hang on, I can do it. I was like, no, you don't. Leave it. You're fine. Everything's good. And then you're like, why are they blinking now? Dad, just leave it alone.
This morning, reports saying it
Cool,
happened around
cool.
8:30. 3 individuals
All right, thank you,
taken
sir.
to
Catch you here
Akron
in a
Children's
sec.
Hospital from the scene for their injuries. Their status not known. A Columbus police officer okay after being bit by a coyote on the city's east side. The department says the officer was checking on someone stranded on the exit ramp from I-70 to Hamilton Road. When the animal came up and attacked him, he managed to punch the animal to make it go away and call for backup, but it came back. Officers were then forced to put it down humanely. And you'll soon be able to get some cheesecake with your chili at Skyline, the Ohio-based restaurant chain, announcing that it's teaming up with the Cheesecake Factory to offer guests a popular dessert. Red Velvet Cake Cheesecake will be available for most Skyline Chili locations for a limited time. I'm Kyle Cornell.
Saving usually means lowering your expectations, settling for less. But no one ever got less and thought, good for me. Now you can save on all your favorite stuff without giving anything up. Surf, swipe, and stream as much as you want with WoW Internet for only $34.99 a month, with no data caps and our 2-year price lock guarantee. These are savings you can count on. Learn more at wowway.com. Wow. Offer for new customers with a 2-year agreement. Auto pay and paperless billing. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Subject to change. Restrictions apply.
What do I cherish? Precious moments watching Dad read to my little Eric. Dad's eyes light up like I haven't seen in years. That's why I'm so grateful I insisted on an eye exam when I noticed him struggling with the words on the page. We found out Dad was in the beginning stages of age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. I learned AMD is the leading cause of blindness in people 55 and older, with baby boomers becoming more at risk as they get older. Luckily, the doctor caught it in time for treatment, so Dad can still read to Eric, and I can still see those eyes light up. I urge you to look out for yourself and for your loved ones so your precious moments don't fade away. Call the Foundation Fighting Blindness today at 1-800-254-6552 for a free packet of information on preventing and managing AMD. Their researchers are hard at work on more effective treatments and a cure. That's 1-800-254-6552. A cure is in sight.
Hey, it's Matt McCoy for Universal Windows Direct. We're in the middle of a Columbus winter, so don't get caught with old leaky windows. Call my guys at Universal Windows Direct, who use the most energy-efficient windows on the market that will save you big money on your utility bills. And when you buy one window, you get the next free with no limit. So you need 10 windows, you're only paying for 5. Call now for your free in-home estimate at 614-502-5220 or go online to universalwindowsdirect.com. Universal Windows Direct. I love my windows.
Universal Windows Direct.
House not as warm as you'd like? Contact Fire and Ice Heating and Air at indoortemp.com.
Annoying.
Smoke break.
Again? Picking. Stop that. Spending.
Oh, wine and Amazon. So bad.
It's not going to be easy breaking those 2019 bad habits.
So bad.
But hey, in 2020, staying informed is easy. Check in at the
All right,
top
here you go,
end 30
Eric,
minutes
in about
past
10
the hour.
seconds.
Good
Copy.
habits for a good...
That'll be 50 cents.
50 cents?
Thank you.
A really good 2020.
That's better.
Starts with News Radio 610, WTVN.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LAPD studios with my father, co-owner Phil. He sits to my left. JC from the sales team is to my right. And our newest member, Big Ed, on probation, 4 years and, 360 days left until that's done.
I don't get credit for last week?
No, because you weren't actually hired last week.
This is a leap year, so we're going to add an extra day on your probation.
Yep. Big Ed, this is my right. Good friend of the family and fellow officer for a number of years. So
Yes.
had a lot of good time over the years. So before we go further, Big Ed, you're monitoring our Facebook today. You want to give a shout out to someone?
Yeah, I want to give a good shout out to our buddy, little buddy Hutchison, all the way out in California.
He's a LAPD, right?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Yeah, apparently with we're all getting older and stuff. He's having an eyesight problem because on Facebook he says that you look good, Ed.
I do look good.
Huh?
I do look good.
Well,
Ask my wife.
Yeah.
And I want to shout out to Zane, too, another guy from the Blue Knights. He's out here watching us and listening. And the rest of the guys, I told him those will be on today.
Great. Well, guys, if you watched our social media site this week, you may have seen that we had a very special guest stop by and shoot this week. We were honored to host a summit of some very influential people from across Ohio and actually across the country that have spent a lifetime fighting for the Second Amendment and the rights of outdoorsmen around the state and really around the country. And though it was a relatively small, intimate group of about 15 people, we were honored to have Eric Trump as the moderator. I mean, how cool is that? It was absolutely amazing, really. So I wanted to take a step back. We've known about this for some time now, but we couldn't talk about it. And I wanted to kind of go through the day because it was fascinating from many different fronts and tell people about it, tell people what he was like and what came out of it. So take a step back for that. It was the week leading up to it. Actually, the week leading up to Thursday was crazy around here. If you happened to be stopping by our store that week, you might have seen OSP here. You might have seen Perry's K9, CFD, CPD, Secret Service. They were all here. Homeland Security, everyone was here at some point.
Whoever was
as a leader.
important was here.
Yeah,
right.
Even the bomb dogs. They were great.
Right.
Yeah,
So it was really neat. It was fascinating to see that. And Pablo, I know you've been a part of that at the airport over the years and stuff, but it was still neat to see that right here at the store.
Well, you know what was interesting, though? That Secret Service, they're just regular guys. Regular guys. While we're waiting and, kind of chatting and everything else, they're shopping around the store.
Well, this is probably a good gig for them,
Yeah, once we got it shut and locked down, then they could relax a little bit, maybe look around the store. That was good.
So on the day of actual arrival and stuff, we were here at 6 a.m. Getting the last-minute preparations and stuff. And at 9 o'clock, the motorcade rolled in. And so shortly before that, all the attendees came. We're in the classroom. And so at 9 o'clock, we welcomed him to the store. He came in through the range door up top. And myself, Lori, Dad?
Yeah, I'm Dad.
Your dad. I was going to call you Papa.
That's okay.
And Bob, a good friend of ours, we all greeted him as he entered the store. And it took about, and Papa, you correct me if I'm wrong, it took about a minute before you felt like you knew the man for 10 years.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
Yep. Down to earth,
No pretentiousness. He was one of us.
No problem.
He was. You wouldn't, if you didn't know who he was, it was like running into an old friend.
Yeah. Who was a gun enthusiast.
And I think his dad would have been the same way.
I think so too.
Yep.
You got that impression as well.
Yep.
So after we made introductions and exchanges and stuff, we knew that Eric had a passion for 1911s. He's truly a shooter. It's not just something he talks about.
Not someone who shoots. He is a shooter. I mean,
he
shoots.
Yeah. So we had brought in a couple really nice 1911s. One of our customers had brought to us to show him and everything. Yeah. And we borrowed those for the day. And we also were able to secure, Auto Ordnance put out a special run of a President Trump gun this year. And we sold quite a few of them when we could get them. They were hard to get. And we had one of those there. So we had them in the case. We had about 4 or 5 guns. And we showed it to him, and his eyes lit up. And you could tell he knew what he was looking at,
Yeah.
And we offered, hey, if you have a second, we'd love to go back and shoot. And he turned to his detail and said, we never get to shoot on the campaign trail. Heck yeah, you know. So that was kind of neat, and that was
very neat.
Something about what was to come.
And what I liked is even the Secret Service guy. He said, like, eventually turned and said, hey, you're here. Let's shoot. So I watched him take off his coat and
so we then. So before that, though, we went to the classroom. Everyone was in there, and we went in there. All the participants had assembled in there, and it was neat because I think he recognized some of them from past events. And you can imagine all the people that he runs into and events and so forth. And there was a couple in there.
He remembered.
Yeah, he remembered, which was, it was neat to see that. He started off by saying that a lot of politicians support the Second Amendment, or they talk about it. He says, I'm here to tell you emphatically that we live it, especially me and my brother. We live it. If we're not on the campaign trail, if we're not working, we are out shooting. And He talked about reloading. He talked about hunting, and I won't divulge how many rounds he said he personally was in possession of.
But more than I have.
Yeah. it was quite a few. But you could really see right from the beginning that he talked the talk and he knew what he was talking about. It wasn't just a politician who says, "Yeah, we're here to support your Second Amendment." He knew it. I mean, he could keep up with any conversation that we were having in regards to firearms. So, and that the impression you got, JC, too? And
he wasn't here he was here to listen to the concerns. I do really want to give a shout out to 3 people that Buckeye Firearms was well represented. I mean, they're the #1 NRA recruiter in the nation and have been for several years. Yeah, #1, and we need those. We really need that. But Linda Walker was there. Now, not only is she executive president of the Buckeye Firearms Association, president, and she's a board member of the NRA, and President Trump selected her to be on this is President Trump on the Second Amendment committee that he has. So Linda wears 3 hats there, and is executive director and NRA board member, and on our second. So it was really important to have her there. But the group was really well represented with really high folks in our cause for the Second Amendment. So.
And you know what I thought was neat too is that as we went around and people introduced themselves and we started the discussion, Eric spoke not just on Second Amendment stuff, but he spoke on core family values and how he was raised and how he was raised with firearms and how the respect for that showed him how to respect stuff, and it kept him out of trouble in younger years. And I mean, you really got a sense of the family and how important that is to him. And we got off track a little bit and talked about how they were adamant when they came into office that you'd once again be able to say Merry Christmas. And I mean, just bringing that family values and that back to the country that it seems like we lost our way a little bit. And he also talked too, and this was so important, and he rattled these off even better than we did. His father's legacy, outside of all the obvious stuff, is the amount of judges that he is, a part of appointing is incredible. And let alone a second term of this, it's really gonna leave a lasting legacy on some very important areas.
Absolutely, for many, many decades to come. So we've got to get him reelected.
So when we talked about the discussions, we let the attendees bring up different things. One of the things that came up was the Hearing Protection Act. You could see Eric a little bit frustrated because he says that was set to go through, and I forget what tragic event happened.
Yeah, there was I don't know which one of the shootings. It didn't involve anything with a suppressor, obviously, but because of that, it kind of killed the whole Hearing Protection Act. So we're hoping that we'll get.
So and he thought that was still something that was higher on the priority list going forward. And for those of you who don't know that, he said, it's really ridiculous that all these other countries, you can go to the hardware store in Britain and buy a suppressor because it is thought of that you're being polite to your neighbor by suppressing your hunting rifle.
It doesn't make it like the movies. I think most people know that. It makes it like pretty much wearing earphones when you're in the range. In the range, yeah, they're just like range earmuffs, and that's all it cuts it down is that. But too many James Bond movies.
Right, and he was adamant about this was still a high priority on their list of things too. The other thing too that got brought up was CCW reciprocity, and it got brought up that a lot of law-abiding citizens are getting caught up in when they think a state has reciprocity or they're not sure of the laws. And he was very on top of this topic, talked about what they can do going forward, and it seemed like a second term that this might be something they could try to get addressed. And so that was refreshing. I mean, I couldn't believe that I wasn't even thinking that going into it.
That would be fantastic. But the next
I don't
elections,
think it's going to be an issue. Getting him elected again is not going to be.
Oh, wow, I know. I hope. I
don't see anything that's going to point us in any other direction, but he's back.
I know. I hope so. The thing that came up that I was surprised, someone brought up amnesty for NFA items, and this is something that I really didn't think of, although we've run across it, I think, or heard anecdotal things about it. But there is a number of NFA, fully automatic, or suppressors that are out there that aren't registered because they didn't get registered in '68 when the opportunity was there, and they were bringbacks from wars or whatever. and people don't have an opportunity to register those. They have to be destroyed.
And just imagine that. If you opened up a trunk and found out that your late husband or son had brought back a war trophy from Vietnam that was a full automatic, and you walk down to turn this in, you are now eligible for 25 years in prison just for possessing it with no. I was like, well, wait a minute. I just found it. Too bad. You're a felon.
And there's nothing you can do to register it.
There's nothing you can do to register it, which is kind of crazy. People don't even want these out there, but you can't turn them in or else you're a felon.
Right. So that was a big thing, too. Federal lands for hunting, he was on top of that and was able to talk. And really, we walked out of there that if you ever doubted for a second the sincerity of the Trump family in protecting your Second Amendment rights, they are right in line with our thinking.
Right. Just as common as your next door neighbor. I mean, he was wonderful. I could not compliment him enough. Smart, really on top of everything. So hats off to Eric Trump.
When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about Pawpaw's experience with Eric Trump and about how his experience was on the range shooting here at LEPD. We're on target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the break.
Your morning routine. Rise, rinse, and...
All right, Eric, you're out at 5740,
the
okay?
Top stories of the day, plus traffic, weather, and interviews to get your brain jump-started.
Monday morning on News Radio 610 WTVN.
Around
You there?
the world and down the streets. Coverage you can count on. Columbus's News Radio
Yes, sir.
610.
You're out at 5740.
Awesome. And temperature?
Visit miraclemotormart.com.
Temperature is 35.
Cars, trucks, and vans.
And then
Two
let me get some
locations,
settings,
Miracle
and
Motor
I'll
Mart
ask you
is
to do a
always
test
close
because I
by.
just
Call
want to make sure I have you so when you do the promos after, you know what I mean? Like you're not just sitting there doing them. I'm like, wait a minute.
Sure.
In small towns and big cities.
We're back in
from
2
coast
minutes.
to coast.
Okay.
And around the world. Habitat for Humanity volunteers gather with purpose. Hand in hand, they come together. They may be strangers or they may be friends, but they are all builders of hope and homes. Hammers are raised, bricks are laid, dreams take shape, and another family finds shelter in a home they help build. Through their time and talents, Habitat for Humanity volunteers are helping change lives for the better, and in the process, maybe even changing their own lives as well. Together, we can eliminate substandard housing. Won't you join us? Support the work of Habitat for Humanity in your community or wherever your heart leads you. Now more than ever, please volunteer, get involved, and help build it. Visit us at habitat.org.
When the original mattress factory opened nearly 30 years ago, there was no one like us in the industry. Our factory direct model and friendly, courteous sales approach enable us to build quality mattresses and box springs and offer them at prices that were hundreds less than the mainstream brands. This is Greg Trzynski, and we're proud to say that nearly 3 decades later, there is still no one like us. Where else can you find a locally hand-built product for hundreds less than any of the mainstream brands? Only at the Original Mattress Factory. Visit us at originalmattress.com.
Hi, I'm Ron Greenbaum, the Basement Doctor. We're proud of our 33 years helping the homeowners of Ohio with all their basement needs. Basement or crawl space problems? No problem. Log on to basementdoctor.com.
Basement Doctor's on the job.
Dormar, your climate hero. Furnace broken? Dormar Heating and Cooling will fix it today, guaranteed.
Watches and warnings.
Snow and frigid temperatures. We'll see close to an inch an hour. Very messy commute.
Complete whiteout.
School closures.
When the cold and the snow does arrive.
Back to seasonal weather.
Back to snow.
You won't miss any information.
We're going to get a lot more snow.
So cold, put your head down.
With your severe weather station.
All right, here comes your weather.
All right, copy.
We're going to have an epic winter.
News Radio 610 WTVN.
Your ABC6 first winning weather for today. A wintry mix early on, changing to rain. Wet and windy afternoon, high of 45. For tonight, a few flurries comes in. Breezy and cold, low of 19. For Sunday, much colder, still breezy, with single-digit wind chills likely later in the day, high of 24. It is currently 35 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
Columbus's news, traffic, and weather station. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Rocking out.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LEPD studios. My father, co-owner, Phil, sits to my left. Big Ed, our newest member, is on my far right, and JC from the sales team sits beside me. And we have Campy today producing. Thanks, Campy, for all your help there.
It's been a while.
It has been a while, but always good to hear his voice on the other end. So going into break, we talked about our visitor this week here at LEPD. We had Eric Trump shooting on the range. That's just what it was.
You gotta love him.
And in the course of that conversation, Paul, we determined that Eric was a woodworker in college and had some love for woodworking. And you mentioned that to him, and you mentioned you have a shop here.
Yeah, and he wanted to see it.
And he wanted to see it.
There you go. I wonder why you guys were in the back.
Well, we took him back there. It was me and him and one Secret Service guy. But we walked around, and he asked my opinion about my table saws.
Did he really?
Yeah. Well, yeah. He said, "How you like that Powermatic?"
Yeah, Powermatic. That's
then he looked over and saw my Grizzly table saw, and he says, "Are they good tools?" Because I think he was thinking of buying a tool, or maybe he has one from Grizzly.